Okay. Sorry about that. I feel like I took a little bit to get myself situated there. Alrighty. How is everybody doing this fine night? Why is it so quiet? I don't hear any music. I want some music. Oh, there went my music. Okay. Hey, Skylar Twilight's in chat. What's up, Skylar? How are you? Anyways, thank you so much for joining. Welcome, everyone. And our ChazmaN here. Back with another ChazmaN Live. What is this, 23 now? 23rd ChazmaN Live? This may be a little bit of a shorter ChazmaN Live. No, man, I don't want to say that. Probably not going to be super, because we did a stream earlier today where we watched the Xbox Developer Direct that they had put out earlier. And that was what we watched that for, what, like an hour 15 or something, and that event ended up being pretty good. I mean, I'd say very good. I enjoyed a lot of what they showed. Maybe I can pull that up and we can chit-chat about that for a minute as well. That might be kind of interesting. So what was that? Xbox. So I should say... Oh, I can just pull up the videos in particular. And then, where was the other one? Kiln. Wow. Alright, everybody. Well, like I said, I got a couple videos here pulled up. And we're going to jump straight into it here in just a minute. Hey, Odin and Salty just joined the stream. So that's why I said, man, I was working earlier today, so I didn't know there was a stream. Yeah, we did. It was a short one. There was an Xbox event at 1 p.m. that I really wanted to watch. So I hopped on a little earlier, and we watched that for about an hour 15. Veronica Rose and Odin with Salty were here, so that was very fun. We'll go back through some of the announcements right now and talk about the three main things that I really cared about, that one of them I'm like very excited for, the other two I'm just excited for and super ready to jump in. Actually, real quick, why don't we go ahead and just jump into those, since it seems like Skylar would want to know what we saw. Alright, so let me get myself situated here. Let's first talk about the big thing that they talked about, and that of course would be Fable. I got my music on. Okay, I got music. Cool. So yeah, if you didn't see, there was an Xbox Developer Direct from earlier today, and they talked about 4 games in particular. And I would say all 4 games looked super high quality. I was super stoked.
Grounds first.
Oh my gosh, that's loud. I was super stoked to kind of see about everything that they were showing. And the main thing that they showed out of the 4 was they finally got to show a ton more about the gameplay and of the sort for the new game Fable. Anyone out there who's a huge fan of Fable, you know that typically is like, I want to say, what is Fable? Fable is more like, it's more, trying to think of how to explain it. It is like a fantasy RPG series set in a world that is heavily designed around choices and decisions, and how your decisions kind of affect the world around you, affect how the people react about you, and this is definitely a revitalization of what was the original company was Lionhead Studios, who Lionhead Studios made the first 3 Fables, Fables 1, 2, and 3. And I don't know exactly what happened. If so facto, now it seems as though I think Xbox may have retained the rights to that. So maybe Lionhead Studios no longer is developing it, but they moved the development over to their studio that's called Playground Games. And Playground Games is the people that are behind the Forza Horizon. Is Horizon different? I don't know. They're behind Forza, I know. And they're mainly a studio that kind of centers around, they've only really done like racing games. So this is really their first time kind of branching out and doing some sort of big, massive open world RPG type game. And yeah, the game looks really good. I mean, you can kind of see they did, what was it? It looks like an 11-minute deep dive into the game itself. Let's see here. You can kind of see, where was the... there were some things that they showed that like me and Odin were super excited for. Right here you can see they kind of finally announced that you can pick a character and design your own character and of the sort. And yeah, the original games had like a very British humor to them. I wouldn't necessarily say they were like super serious games. Like they were games that had like a serious idea and theme, but like just the way the character, your main character, kind of reacted with the world and other characters. Like everything in the games is like super wacky and cartoony and jokey in a British way, but then like in combat, the combat was like semi-serious. But then outside of that, everything was just like super funny and cool. So, and it kind of looked very much like this. You can kind of start to see here that they're starting to show some more gameplay. This is the most gameplay we've seen out of all of them. And this definitely looks like super, I would say like I was getting strong like Witcher vibes, Witcher 4 vibes, or 3 vibes I should say. And there were some really cool enemy designs like this like ghost, whatever, phantom. And I don't know, I'm super stoked with what they were showing. Now this quality video is not that great. This is like 1080, but we were watching it in 1440 and it looked really good. Maybe I should have looked for a 1440 one, but this looks pretty good. Granted, again, this is only 1080, but yeah, it seems as though it's got most of the humor and everything. Odin Salty says, I wonder if they'll bring back the gnomes and demon. Oh, I forgot about the demon doors. That is a great. I totally forgot they were demon doors. The demon doors were funny too. Yeah, if you don't remember, in the original Fables, there was like demon doors, and I remember there was one door that you had to like solve a riddle to in order to access it or something like that. I can't remember. It's been a long time since I played some of the, maybe we need to replay the Fables. I tell you what, before this game comes out, we're definitely going to replay all the Fables. That's definitely going to be something. That'll be later this year. But yeah, probably like a month before release, we'll play Fable 1, 2, and 3. Definitely. And there is another Fable game that I can't think of. I'm pretty sure there's another Fable game. I like Witcher 3, so I'll be fine if Fable's combat is similar to that game. It just looks like that. I don't want to say it plays like that, but to me, from the outside, it definitely like kind of looks like that. Yeah, we'll definitely replay 1, 2, and 3. I've never fully played through 1. I've played 2 a bunch of times. 2 to me is the best one, and then I've played 3 I think once or twice. So, yeah, we'll definitely play through all 3 eventually. But yeah, like these games are really cool. Like I think one of the cooler things that they're getting into here is they're kind of showing like just how detailed and how simmy almost in a way you can kind of be with the town of what was it? Is Bowerstone. And you could, and this was, I think the original games did a lot of this where you could have houses, you could have wives, you could have kids, and you could also like go around and buy houses and stuff of the sort. Now, I think this one's getting a little bit more in depth than the originals did. I can't remember how much, but I do remember in Fable 3 there was almost like you could almost become like the mayor of the city almost and dictate a lot about how things are operating with the people in their lives. So that I'm very excited for, to see if, which I mean, they showed a lot here and it looks really cool. I think here they, oh gosh.
But what's even cooler is that you can talk to every single one of them.
Yeah, you can kind of see here.
And interact with them in loads of different ways. Maybe the job they go to is working for you because you hired them to work in one of your businesses.
Hey you, working hard?
How can I help you, boss?
Maybe the bed they sleep in is in a house you own because you're the landlord.
Or maybe their bed is on the street because you evicted them.
All right.
Oh, it's you. You're awful.
And all of the stuff you do affects what they think of you.
You're a legend.
Because everything you do builds your reputation.
So you can kind of see how everything kind of flows and stuff here, and it's very cool. I'm all for more RPG-like stuff, you know what I mean? Anything that has to do with your decisions kind of affecting the town and the world around you. They even said something about how you deal with certain missions can affect the world around you, like something about it. There was a big giant, and if you do anything to accidentally kill him or something, his body just gets stuck in the middle of town, which is kind of funny. But yeah, I mean, there's not really much to say here. I thought that just about everything about Fable looks really cool. I'm super stoked. The game looks super pretty. This is definitely one of the more exciting games I feel like that I'm super intrigued to play at some point. I might need to re-download Fable 1. I forgot I was playing that game, says Odin. Hey, Delectable Toast is in chat. Says the chicken. Yeah, there's definitely a lot of chickens involved. They have like an entire chicken outfit that you could get in the game. You can obviously go around and kick chickens. The one thing I didn't see from Fable 3 is I didn't see that you could go around and fart on people. That I'm a little disappointed by, but I remember that from... I don't remember if you could do that in Fable 2 as well. I know that was a Fable 3 thing though. Just going on and passing gas on people, and they would get grossed out. And I think if you did that enough, they would start to hate you. But yeah, I'm super stoked for this one. So that was the final announcement that they had. That by far, to me, was like the best looking thing. There were other things that I thought looked really cool. Getting into one of the more interesting ones, the big surprise announcement that they had was this game called Kiln. Now this one was super intriguing because I will admit, farting was in Fable 2, says Odin. Okay, yeah. I remember it was in one of them. This game was super intriguing because I was very disappointed at first to see this game. Fighting mechanics, sign me up, said Skylar. If you don't know, this game is made by Double Fine, which I was super bummed out at first because it showed the Double Fine logo, and then immediately said that this was a online multiplayer combat or competition game. Which, if you don't know about Double Fine, that is not what I don't know if they've ever done that. Double Fine, if you don't know, they've made games such as Psychonauts. They did Stacking. They did Costume Quest. They've done a bunch of other stuff. So I'm very much used to more like linear, story-driven based games from Psychonauts, from Double Fine. So when they started to show this game, you can see in there'll definitely be a highlight for this one, but I was super bummed about it at first. And then as the trailer started to kind of get into it, I think I started to get into liking it. If you don't, so this game is called Kiln, but it is entirely a game based around ceramics and pottery, which you as the character, you get to make your own pot character or ceramic character. And the entire it almost feels like a it almost feels like a like I would say it kind of gives strong why can't I think Splatoon. I kept thinking Squidbillies. Why am I thinking Squidbillies? I was getting strong Splatoon vibes, where the whole point of the game is because you're a pot. The whole point of the game is to get as much water as you can over to the other side to essentially put out the flames within the enemy's kiln, or kiln or whatever, the thing with flames. And I thought the game looked really freaking cool. Just the idea that you can just like go around and create these your own character, basically looking almost however exactly you want the character to look, just looks so dope. And then just like based on how you shape your pottery can determine what kind of character and almost what kind of build and skill set your pot is going to have, which is very dope. I think it looks super cool. This is actually this trailer I feel like is more basic than what we saw. Yeah, I thought this looked really cool. I think the one disappointing aspect to it, to me, was the fact that it's not on Nintendo Switch. I thought the fact that this is like a big multiplayer team-based game just to me jumped out, that like, oh, this should be this should be ideally perfect for the Nintendo Switch. and as it turns out, it's only going to be on Xbox, PlayStation, and PC. But I'm just curious. Like, I feel like this is going to be a super fun and interesting game. Like, I definitely want to play it. I'm just kind of curious if on those consoles there's going to be enough of a base of people who are going to want this type of thing, because has a big multiplayer... No, I guess... I'm just wondering if this type of game has a big multiplayer, like, competitive game like this popped off on any of those consoles. I think it has, because the ones I can think of is... oh, man. Like, Marvel Rivals is one. But that's more of a looter shooter. Not looter. Is it looter shooter? Something like that. A competitive shooter. And then there's... Oh, gosh. What's the other... Okay, I'm the worst with names. There's the other competitive multiplayer game where you play as those characters, but everything's more of like you running an obstacle course. I can't remember the name. Like, that game did really well. But I think that one was on Nintendo Switch too, although I can't remember. Oh gosh, I can't remember the name of that. Whatever. But yeah, like I said, I'm just like curious. Like, I think this was shouting out that it should be on Nintendo, but I think it looks really dope. And I think what's most important to me is that the game looks super quality. Voice broke. The game looks super quality, and Double Fine just makes good stuff. I don't know if Double Fine has made a bad game, in my opinion. Psychonauts 1, 2, Stacking. Did they do Brutal Legends? They might have done Brutal Legends. Gosh, they've made so much that is just like really good. They had that new Lighthouse game that came out last year, which was, you know, a lot of people said that was really good. Eventually, I'll end up playing that one too. Yeah, I'm stoked for this one. I'm definitely gonna play it whenever it comes out. And then another super interesting one. Granted, I'm only gonna talk about 3 out of 4. I don't really have much to say about Forza, unfortunately. That's just not. That's not my kinda game. The next one, final one. This is probably the one I'm the most like kind of iffy on. Like, I am stoked to play it, but I think this is the one that like I would probably. This is probably the one. Maybe I don't know if I'll play this one immediately or not. I haven't decided if I will. This might be one I wait on to kind of see the reviews for, but I am like curious about it. This game called was it Beasts of Incarnation? And if you don't know, this game is made by Game Freak, who, if you don't know, Game Freak are the lifelong developers of like all the Pokemon games. So this is like Game Freak's big other game that they've been working on. It's some sort of it definitely is hack and slashy. I'm not quite sure if it's I'm still not unsure if it's like a Dark Souls like or anything. It just comes off as hack and slashy, so I would say to me it almost seems more Devil May Cry-ish in a way. But there's a lot of really cool stuff from here. Like, I really like the enemy designs. The enemy designs are like, someone mentioned it in another stream I was watching, but they said it looked very Pokemon-y, like the way some of the enemy designs look. And I actually really agree with that. If you actually like look at how the monsters and stuff look, it looks really cool. But yeah, you have like a little wolf friend, and the whole game is centered around plants. I'm installing Fable Anniversary right now. I've got all the Fable games on physical. I'll play them on physical eventually. But yeah, the game centers around like plants or something, and there's some sort of plague type thing. The Game Freak game looks pretty cool, nice overall, yeah. Some sort of plague or something that's the reason why humanity's gone, post-apocalyptic, and you have to use plants to fight other plants, monsters. That basically sounds like it. But the game looks really cool. Like, I'd say the gameplay, everything looks quality. I think that's the one thing I always look for is quality. Like, does it something look like it plays well? Does it feel like it feels good? And I don't know, everything that they've shown looks really cool. Nothing really looks janky. We'll see. Like I said, this one I'm much more like, I'll probably wait and see how this one does, but I'm definitely intrigued by it. And that's really all I got. I thought the event was really good. This is probably the best developer direct that Xbox has had. Not saying that they've had any like really bad ones. I would say this would be a much bigger event if not for Xbox's history within the last like year. I wouldn't say that morale for people like me is like the largest or the best it's ever been for Xbox and Microsoft. I'm definitely probably I'm in a wait and see status with like everything that they have, mainly because you just don't know like what is actually ever going to get made with them now. You don't know what's going to get canceled. Shoot, I think Ubisoft just canceled. Didn't Ubisoft yesterday canceled like 6 games that were in development? One of them being a what was one of the games they canceled? Oh, it was a Prince of Persia game that they just canceled, like a remake or something, which is like Ubisoft is just they're ridiculous right now. But yeah, Xbox has canceled a bunch of stuff. They canceled Perfect Dark. They had another game that I was looking forward to. I never remember the name of it, but yeah, they've canceled a bunch of stuff that it makes me very wary about what they've got going on. So, like I said, this game I'm pretty excited for. Ubisoft is in the dumps right now. Well, I think what happened with Ubisoft is I think what it seems like to me is that I think Ubisoft was expecting to get bought out by now. Like I feel like Ubisoft has been trying to sell itself for like several years at this point, and I think they keep thinking they're going to get bought out by some major company, and they just never get bought out. So it almost seems as though they're in a like if you ever like they had like a press conference the other day, and like it almost seems as though they're in like a state of like trying to sell themselves. You know what I mean? Like I saw there was somebody was showing that they did like a press conference, and they're just talking about like how they're restructuring and reshaping and they're doing all of this stuff to have particular people work on particular things, and it just all sounds like marketing mumbo jumbo to make them seem like they're like they're organized or they're in it, you know, to make the best games ever. And it's just like, shut up, like we know what's up with you. They still haven't officially canceled Beyond Good and Evil 2, which for me is like, get out of here. That's the only game I really care about Ubisoft for, and I'm never going to get that game. But yeah, that's pretty much that event. I thought it was pretty good. I really enjoyed it. And that's that. Yeah, I put out the first highlight today from that earlier today, if you guys didn't see. That's the first of the Fable one. So I'll put out 2 more videos of that. One of Kiln, reacting to Kiln, and then one of the other one, Beast of Reincarnation, and that's probably all I'll put out for that channel. Alright. So why don't we... There's a couple trailers I've got here. I don't know if you guys have seen these or cared about them. But earlier this morning, there was a new Star Wars trailer for something called Maul Shadow Lord. I'll be honest, I think Disney is kind of also in the dumps right now. I'm not quite sure what's going on with them over there. I think I saw something that Kathleen Kennedy just quit or got let go. I don't know which it was. And I don't think necessarily anybody was super sad about that. No offense, Kathleen. I don't think most people would say that Disney has been done all that justice as of late. But yeah, I know they're in like a lot of like restructuring as well going on right now. So yeah, they put out some trailer called Star Wars Maul Shadow Lord. I'm gonna check that out because I have no idea what it is. It looks animated, which is kind of cool. So let's see how good it is. Oh, I forgot to get that on screen. How's the audio? Let's see, maybe a bump up.
Times have changed. I will show you the galaxy for what it truly is. See things from a new perspective.
Is this what our future holds? Always running.
I invite you to look more closely.
What are we dealing with?
Okay, so we've got some Palpatine, or Delectable Toast in chat says, I think I saw that thumbnail for that this morning. Ah, okay. Yeah, I saw something about it. I think I saw Angry Joe did a review to it. I didn't get to watch his video, but honestly, I'm just like so like I don't want to act like I'm whatever with Star Wars, but like I am kind of whatever with Star Wars. It's like I saw it. I'm like, I'm kind of curious. I'll be honest, there's just so much Star Wars content that it's like, where do you start? Like, I watched Andor, and then, like, I was like, do I want to keep going and watching Ahsoka? And they had that, like, Goonies kids TV show with the live-action kids I never got to watch. Gosh, there's so much. They got the Boba Fett's. There's a million things, and I'm like, I never even got to watch the Clone Wars stuff. I never got to watch any of those animated things, so it's just like I feel like I've missed out on so much Star Wars that it just seems like it almost seems like One Piece, where it's just like I want to watch One Piece, but there's just so much to it. I'm just like, I don't know if I have the time to dedicate so much to it. But yeah, well, we got Palpatine right off the bat,
question.
I think.
And I offer you an opportunity.
Darth Maul.
Maul.
So, from the creators of the Clone Wars.
We have all been made to suffer. We survive, but do not live.
Wait, so is this about Maul turning on the dark side? So is he like a Jedi Master now? What is... We have all been made to suffer. So he's like... Is he a good guy now? I have no idea where things are at in this universe.
The Emperor wants
It's
you.
Sith against Sith.
Chains can be broken.
Hang on!
And empires can be shattered.
So they had what's the song? The something of the Fates, or no? They had the Maul song going on there. That was pretty interesting. I mean, again, like, it kind of popped up for me, and I was like, maybe I'll check it out. Star Wars, again, just I hate to reiterate, but Star Wars to me is just so odd. There's so much content. Like, does anyone else feel that way about, like, I mean, I think Marvel could be in that same boat where it's just like there's just so much content, so much to keep up with, and after long enough, I'm just like, dude, I can't. I don't have the strength to keep up with as much as you guys put out there. Because you got to think about it. If you were to keep up with everything that's being put out, I mean, Star Wars puts out what, like, do they put out like 2 or 3 TV shows a year at this point? Right? It's got to be like at least 2 to 3. I don't know. It's a little bit too much. No, I'm not alone in that. Okay. It's too much. But yeah, like I said, I'm probably not going to watch this. I was just kind of curious with, yeah, Darth Maul. He's a good guy now. Okay. He killed Qui-Gon Jinn, but now he's a good guy. Fascinating. So the next one, there's another trailer I saw. Again, I saw Angry Joe put out a reaction vid to this. He-Man, Masters of the Universe. I wouldn't necessarily say I'm the biggest He-Man fan. I of course loved the cartoon when I was a kid. I don't remember anyone who grew up in the 90s. I mean, it's more of an 80s show, but like anyone who grew up in the 90s, like I don't think anyone hated He-Man. I always liked He-Man. But I'm not quite sure how I feel about a live action He-Man. I'm probably not gonna watch it. I mean, maybe I will. I don't know. Just found out there's gonna be a season 4 for Invincible, so I'm looking forward to it. Ah, okay. I haven't seen any of that show either. I'll always say I think that show got a bad rap because it came out at about the same time as The Boys, and the two shows look so similar. Well, one animated, one real, like a live action, but like they were both centered around like similar ideals. So like the fact that they came out at the same time, I don't know. I just think Invincible got overshadowed. I definitely think if they didn't come out at the same time, I would have watched Invincible by now.
All that stuff that only exists in legends and bedtime stories.
All right, He-Man, Masters of the Universe.
Talking tigers, spaceships, and magic swords that can make a man as mighty as a god.
I don't know why this needs a live action movie, but okay.
That stuff is real. Why did you send me away?
I wanted you to be safe. So I sent you to a place I knew that they'd never find you.
I have the power.
This obsession with
Prince Adam. It's Prince Adam, y'all. So there's kind of a real world? That's kind of neat. Is that new for He-Man? Live action He-Man since Scarlet Twilight. Yeah. Yeah, that got announced earlier today as well. Is that canon? I don't know what is canon for He-Man. I just remember He-Man was in what's it? Oh gosh, what's the name He-Man takes place in? I remember Castle Grayskull. It's like Solania or Melania, Melania, something like that.
nerd stuff and sword things. It's not a good look for human resources.
I know it sounds crazy, but that sword is gonna show me the way home.
Sir, you can't do that.
Don't worry, the sword's mine.
Hang on, it's about to get weird.
So they're going fish out of water story. I guess it's. Is this better than it just being? Is Narnia? Is that the name of the world? Is this better than Narnia being a real place? So the guy's gonna get isekai. Yeah. Oh, isekai. Oh, basically it is an isekai, isn't it? Yeah. Fish out of water hero you would never expect. Even though the dude's a jacked, blonde hair, blue-eyed dude in the real world. I'm just saying, like, is that more is the isekai more entertaining than if just the planet of He-Man was real? I don't know. Look at Randman. Randman is Idris Elba.
What am I supposed to do?
Take the sword.
Skeletor.
Protect them.
Is Idris Elba Randman? I don't remember Randman. He has a helmet on. I have the power.
I have the power!
I mean, it looks kind of cool. I honestly think I think I'd go watch this over the Darth Maul thing. I think at least like this looks kind of like dumb fun. You know what I mean? Delectable Toast says, I'm not familiar with this He-Man, but this kind of just like a generic thing from your childhood, but in a live action movie. Says Delectable. Yeah. To be honest, this kind of gives off strong. Was it Dungeons and Dragons movie that came out a year or two ago, where like it just looks like dumb fun. Like I wouldn't take the movie seriously. Yeah, like I said, that Dungeons and Dragons movie, which I heard was pretty good. I never got to watch that, but that's what That's the kind of vibes I'm getting from it, is the kind of something stupid and ridiculous. Again, I'll probably end up going to watch that, but I'm not like super stoked. But I'll probably definitely go out and watch that. Just for, like I said, just for giggles. I did vaguely watch it as a kid, but I never understood it. I'll be honest, I was more of a Thundercats fan. I know a lot of people I knew more people that were watching He-Man, but I was more of a Thundercats fan. I thought the Thundercats was like so much better than He-Man, and there was a couple other shows around that time that were similar, like what's the one that came out before Transformers? What was that show called? Voltron. Like Voltron, if you guys remember Voltron. Voltron was such a good show too. Yeah, Voltron was like the precursor to like Transformers and stuff like that. Power Rangers, you know. Voltron's really good. I was never a big He-Man guy. I always preferred Thundercats. I thought Thundercats was much better. And it had a better theme song. Let's be honest, Thundercats had the best theme song. Oh, okay. Oh, I see a video that I'm gonna want to watch. Okay, we're definitely gonna watch this, just because I'm curious what Destin's got to say. Hello, my mom just showed me Thundercats since she did like that show as a kid. Gosh, that's Thundercats as a kid. When did Thundercats come out? Am I that old? I mean, to be fair, I think Thundercats might have even been before my time, so. Thundercats came out in 85. Gosh, is your mom like almost my age? I don't feel like I'm that old. 85 would be... I'm born in 92. So no, I was probably watching Thundercats in like the, probably late 90s was around the time I was watching that. You're making me feel old that your mom liked it as a kid. Goodness. But yeah, Thundercats is really good. Let's see. So next one. I just saw this video pop up, which I'm kind of curious about. Destin Legary here has some details on the new Gears of War E-Day, which I'm kind of curious what exactly he's got pertaining to that. Let's see what Destin's got to say. Take it away, Destin. We don't have to watch this whole video. I kind of just want to see the gist of what he's got to say.
Exclusive, and I thought I would go over the new details about the game.
So this is Destin's channel.
Xbox Developer Direct. Let's check
shout out to... Oh, it's just Destin. That's right. Former IGN guy.
Now, the Xbox Developer Direct is not going to feature Gears of War E-Day, but Games Radar Plus has us covered. They have a bit of an exclusive here. I think I'll just go over some of the key beats.
I totally forgot about that. They didn't have They should have had Gears of War at this event. I totally forgot about that. Game's supposed to be out this year too, I think. Huh. Maybe they feel like Gears of War would deserve its own event or something like that. Maybe it's a little further, not as far along as we thought.
That they covered off on. Gears of War's Matt Searcy, the creative director at the Coalition, said the following: "We can't think of a bigger way to celebrate the 20th anniversary of Gears. This is our most ambitious game yet, entirely built from scratch in Unreal Engine 5. Even though this is a return to our roots, with Marcus and Dom facing the Locust for the first time, we wanted to build a game that feels like Gears but plays like new E-Day, is a celebration of both the past and what's to come in the future." Now, if you remember way back when this was revealed, they actually talked a little bit about the tech of the engine and what they're trying to accomplish in terms of technical capabilities within Unreal Engine 5. Now, I referenced that old interview from back when this was revealed, and here's what they said. "With the advancements in Unreal Engine 5, the leap in technical capabilities is tremendous. 100 times more environment and character details than Gears 5, hardware ray trace lighting, reflections and shadows, next generation destruction and gore, and cutting edge animation technology. Our ambition is to once again set a new standard in technical excellence. Rainer adds, we have fully modernized Gears from the ground up.
Don't care about any of the corporate
storytelling and technology in gaming. Talk a little bit about the relationship between Dom and the story that they're going to try and tell. Here's what they said about storytelling.
Okay, that's
this is
more
the story
important.
we were excited to tell, and so the process has been super energizing. There are touch points in the lore for us to build from, but enough room that we get to bring new elements and ideas in. Getting to go back to the tone.
It's just like hearing about all the technical stuff. It's like I could care less. Like the technical stuff, I'm sure is going to be fine. The more important part is it a good story? Which that's like the problem with some of the other modern Gears games, like Gears 4 and 5, isn't that they weren't technically sound. The problem is that they weren't super intriguing story-wise, in my opinion.
Games exploring the details of emergence and imagining what would happen to a city and the soldiers protecting it as monsters poured out from the ground was a great starting point to reintroduce the Locusts and these characters. Now, in addition to this interview, going back in time, they did talk about how they wanted to go back to the drawing board with the Locusts because they kind of became these, I don't know how you say it, you would say sort of like almost a comical entry into the game, because a lot of people just saw them as cannon fodder, and they just saw them as this thing that you could absolutely eviscerate. So they had this paragraph where they're talking about bringing the monsters back. Gears of War E-Day is set 14 years before the events of the original Gears of War and tells the story of the first Locust emergence on Serra. As the game unfolds, we'll get to see how an ill-prepared world responds to a threat like the Locusts. The Coalition are being very intentional to recast the Locust not simply as foes, but as living nightmares. These aren't your typical alien or zombie video game antagonists. They're mysterious, formidable creatures that dwell beneath the earth, tapping into our deepest fears. The design brief was pretty simple, explained Circe.
I guess that's probably good. I mean, I think the villains of... I think the Locusts have always been pretty scary. I mean, yeah. I hate to say it, it's just like... saying something like... maybe it's because I'm just like old and cynical at this point when it comes to corporate speak and corporate people talking about corporate things, that like... it's just like, yeah, it's like all of this is like super basic stuff. Oh, we want to make the Locust formidable and scary. Of course. Like what are you trying to make them easier on the faces and less scary? You know what I mean? Like I don't know. I'm so like not blown away by like corporate speech that like, oh, we're making the game prettier and we're making you care more about Dom and Marcus and we're making the enemies more smarter and difficult to deal with. It's like, yes, that's video game design. I don't know. Maybe I'm sounding like an a-hole, you know. I apologize, but it's we're making the game it's gonna have good difficulty and the story is gonna be more in depth. It's like I would hope so. I don't know.
Locusts are the monsters under the bed. What would happen to the people of Serra in seeing this overwhelming army of monsters and trying to figure out what are you going to do? Remember, this is Marcus and Dom when they met. This isn't them going in, wrecking shop, and destroying everything. This is a first encounter with what is supposed to be an absolutely terrifying beast. So the fact that they kind of got treated as though they're almost comical, where we're currently at with the franchise, they're just sort of cannon fodder. Seeing them go back to the drawing board and redesign these characters was definitely welcome from my perspective, and I really do think it was needed and impactful that they did so. They continued on in the original story talking about what they're trying to do with the world and what they're trying to do to make the setting really grounded and drive home that this is an earlier iteration from the series. Our story is set over consecutive days so that players can become intimate with the city, says Circe. We want them to feel the loss of what was there, the history, the people, and the lives they were living.
Okay, so that's cool.
Kelowna is a rich environment to tell a great
story.
Now
that's a cool idea that I like, is the game taking place over maybe an extended period of time, maybe a couple of days, so you can kind of see the effects that the Locusts and E-Day and everything would have. Like, that definitely is something cool. Over like the game taking place in one day, maybe a couple of days, to see how you know, see the trauma with one day, for the initial E-Day, and then maybe the next day to see how people are still dealing with it.
You'll get to visit downtown city streets, historical landmarks, military installments, industrial emulsion refineries, and even forested outskirts. And as a battlefield, the game just plays great in a city. It's the best gameplay playground for an intense cover-based shooter like Gears.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like a Gears of War game, or it almost sounds like Halo ODST, where Halo ODST took place in what was it, why did I remember the name? How did I know the name? New Mombasa. I don't remember. I don't know how I remembered that name. But yeah, like how ODST took place in New Mombasa, where like you're just like the whole game combat and everything is taking place in front of like shops and you know, normal city locations. I kind of like that idea of this doing that. I mean, I think the original Gears kind of did that anyways, but at least they're holding true to that.
So that's really interesting. It's going to be much more in close quarters combat in a tight-knit, built-out city, and I think that's going to introduce some really, really interesting gameplay mechanics. If they have destructibility and this gore element, it's going to be more blood splatter on the walls. It's going to be potentially destructible environments. I
really hope they returned the horror vibe they had back in Once as Delectable. Yeah, I 100% agree with that. There were definitely a couple horror sections in that original game. If you remember the whole Krill section that took place in the... there was kind of that one rundown area that where all like the homeless people basically were in. The people that refused to move to the hoity-toity big city. But yeah, there was that entire section with the Krill chasing the big vehicle and stuff. I would definitely prefer a more vibe like that, one that's more scary, you know, of course.
Personally very, very excited to see more of that and see what they do. In addition to that, this is the first time that they are introducing Dom and Marcus once again. They want to document the budding bromance of Sergeant Marcus Phoenix and Corporal Dominic Santiago. We think it has the potential to be one of the best stories in the Gears franchise, and certainly the most heart and emotion when you're looking at Marcus Dom and the origin of the brotherhood that they forge in this game. It's been so cool to see players come together without barriers for the first time in Gears' almost 20-year history, says Cersei. For many of the team here at the Coalition, the 2006 original was the game that made us fall in love with this franchise, so it has a lot of meaning to be able to reconnect with Marcus, Dom, and the Locusts. Seeing our community fight side by side with new players across platforms reaffirms and reminds us why we make Gears, because gaming brings us together. I think that original Gears of War game was really, really great, and I didn't get the 10,000 kill online multiplayer achievement, but I did spend a lot of time playing that game. I love the torque bow. I remember enjoying that quite a bit.
Delecto says, that part stressed me out so bad. Another thing, I hope they don't nerf the sniper ammo to oblivion like past entries, says Delectable. Yeah, I hope they don't I don't know if I don't remember too much from the last previous games, but I remember the sniper rifle has completely sucked since, like, I want to say it was Gears 3 is like, because the sniper rifle hasn't been the same since Gears probably 1 or 2 in my opinion. Like, they did something somewhere along the line where the same thing happened with the Nasher shotgun, where like just somewhere along the line they just like completely messed with those weapons and how they worked, and after long enough it's just like, well, I'm never, you know, like eventually like stuff like the torque bow and the Botok pistol and stuff started to become like, all right, well, I guess these are the best guns, you know what I mean? And I don't know, sniper rifle and Nasher shotgun, just, I don't know, somewhere along the line they did something to them that I did not like.
Boom shot was really, really great, and I'm really excited to see the story elements where they do go back to the drawing board and do reintroduce us to these terrifying characters. And remember,
and it could have been the sawed-off, because remember they introduced the sawed-off shotgun in 2 or 3. I don't know, that may have been the reason why they nerfed the Nasher. Because I remember the Nasher in the first game was like one of the best guns. That's just like your basic shotgun. And then they introduced the sawed-off shotgun in 2 or 3, and then like everyone just started using the sawed-off 24/7.
Remember, because this is a prequel, They confirmed that E-Day is a story of origins, including the Chainsaw Lancer, so we're probably going to learn how that was created at the end of the day, but opts to keep the specifics of those stories to herself for now. Suffice it to say, we're not just learning how Marcus and Dom came to be heroes we know in E-Day. The Chainsaw Lancer doesn't currently exist in that period, but it's not a Gears game if you're not chainsawing locusts, Fawcett laughs. So they're basically making the Lancer their version of the BFG in the Doom series, and I'm really, really excited to see what they end up doing there in terms of how they build up to getting the Chainsaw Lancer. I think that's going to be a lot of fun. Their take on the Brotherhood was, this story is of course told from the perspectives of a much younger...
Delectable says, I don't think I played with the shotguns much, but I remember my dad complaining about it. Yeah, like the game's multiplayer hasn't felt the same since the first game. The first game had like it almost felt like the jump between Destiny 1 and 2, where like the PvP in Destiny 1 was like pristine. It was like perfect. Like the way most weapons felt, the way your abilities felt, it just felt right. And then in Gears 1 was that. In the original version of the game, the weapons just felt right. Every weapon felt good. And then like just like even with that new remake or remaster they did, like they haven't found, for some reason they just can't get the feel of the weapons down anymore. Sniper rifles don't feel the same. Shotgun, I think the Nasher kind of felt similar, but yeah, it's really hard. It's really that's why it's so difficult to get a PvP game up and running, because like if you can't get it to feel perfect, it's just hard to get people to come back and play it, you know, especially for a game that's like a remake or something like that. I'm honestly surprised. That new Halo, right? That new remaster, doesn't it not even have PvP in it? Which it's like, I wonder if they just like, no, I don't mean to judge that one, but that one comes out this year, right? The remaster. I wonder if they like just couldn't get it down. They couldn't make it feel as good as it originally did, so they were just like, screw it. It's just gonna have story mode.
Younger Marcus and Dom, while the pair are seasoned veterans of the Pendulum Wars, the human conflict taking place before the series begins, this is a wholly new threat for the pair to navigate. The best Gears games have these super emotional themes around shared burden, belonging, trust, and loyalty, and Marcus and Dom have a really interesting relationship going into E-Day. We're telling the origin story of Marcus and Dom and their bond. This is the bond that defines the franchise, Cersei adds. They're not the characters we know from Gears 1 to 3. They don't have 10 years of fighting the Locusts between them. When the game opens, there's supposed to be peace on Sarah, and they're trying to figure out life without this person they both loved. People are going to see the formation of this brotherhood that is so iconic to Gears. I'm super glad that they're going back to the bromance. I think the Marcus and Dom relationship was definitely what established my love of the game. And if you've taken a closer look,
the Marcus and Dom relationship is like one of the best parts about the game. It's basically, I don't want to say it's basically, because this is probably too strong a point. It's kind of like your Sam and Frodo to your Lord of the Rings, you know, like without, like Lord of the Rings is incredible and everything, but without your Sam and Frodo plotline, like that's like your emotional hook. That's like your deepest, most relatable tie, you know, having your whole bro thing going on. And then like Gears of War was like that, where you have like, it just wouldn't feel the same without, I mean, I guess it hasn't felt the same since, I won't spoil it, but yeah, without, you know, Dom and Marcus, that's like your, for those 3 games, that was like your big emotional hook, was like, especially surrounding Gears 2, you know what I mean? That's like, some good stuff there.
And the trailer, which we'll look at here at the end, I mean, they're really hitting a lot of the right visuals, the dark, gritty nature that I think a lot of us have wanted. These are just stills from the trailer, but look at what they're doing with the characters. It definitely has that more serious, more terrifying tone that they're going for, bringing back the monster, so to speak, and I am here for it. And I figured we would cap it off. It's a short trailer. We would take one last look, or one more look, I should say.
All right, so he's going to watch the trailer, which I've seen before. I was just kind of curious. Thank you so much, Destin, for your video. Make sure I gave it a like. I'm subscribed. All good. Yeah, I mean, I have high hopes for this game, E-Day. I'm not letting myself get overly excited once again. Xbox has kind of been a bit disappointing as of late. So I'm almost everything they do, I'm kind of like dipping my toes in. You know what I mean? I'm not jumping in all the way. So this is making me want to replay the games again. Well, remember on stream, me and my buddy Phoenix recently replayed the remaster or whatever, Gears. What was it, Reloaded or Reload or something? But yeah, we played. Eventually, I'll go back and play the rest of them at some point, I'm sure. All right, so the next Destin video. So Destin is talking about, apparently he thinks there's gonna be price increases for the Switch 2. So let's go ahead and see what he's got to say real quick about that. See what information he's got that he's looking at.
There hasn't been a ton of great news about the overall status of the video game industry, and one company I haven't really focused on is Nintendo. Now, without a doubt, the Switch 2 had been selling quite well until this November, and it seems like investors are starting to get a little bit of cold feet. Now, Dr. Serkan Toto said Nintendo stock in Japan is sliding, all-time high of 14,795 yen in August 2025, and closed at 9,950 yen today. So minus 33% in 5 months. Investors are spooked by possible price hikes, lack of first-party hits, and US/EU hardware discounts during the holidays. Now, I made another video where I talked about the hardware decline this November, which was pretty shocking to see. Now, if you missed it, Matt Piscatella put out the following post over on Blue Sky. He said, the average price paid for a new unit of video game hardware in the US during November 2019 was $235. In November 2025, it was $439. 3.9 million units of video game hardware sold in the US in November 2019. In November 2025, it was 1.6 million. That is shockingly low. November is Black.
Hold on. What was that number? I gotta look at that again. That didn't sound good. The average price paid for a new unit of video game hardware in the US during November 2019 was $235. In November 2025, it was $439. Goodness. That's almost exactly double the price. 3.9 million units of video game hardware sold in the US in November 2019. So 2019 of November, 3.9. In November, it was 1.6. That's not good. I mean, the price increases might help balance that out, but that is a substantial number of hardware that's not sold. Goodness.
It was 1.6 million. That is shockingly low. November is Black Friday. November is the holiday season. It is the time when people buy things. And if you look at the price people are paying, this is again from Matt Piscatella, orange line is price you're paying and hardware sold. So you're paying more and they're selling fewer. So, I mean, the strategy of not supporting.
And you can see the only other time it was up was 2008-9, which that's the housing crisis right there. So that's the last time it was like super high, other than where it is over here. That goes to show you how bad things are now, that the height here is equal to when the housing crisis was happening. That was 08, 09.
This ecosystem that doesn't...
Which 08, 09 people say was like a recession technically. So what does that mean now? Recession.
Think about you. And you have to remember, back in 1995, maybe your dollar was not as strong as it was in 2025, but they were still able to sell more units in 1995 than they are today. So fast forward to this story about Nintendo. Now, we know how well Nintendo had been doing in the past, so they had been growing quite well. Serkan Toto also pointed out that Unity had an 80% bump in terms of stock performance, Take-Two at a nearly 40%, Roblox 37.7, CD Projekt Red 24.6. We've been talking about Ubisoft 49.9, and they closed. Well, they didn't close. They closed the Halifax studio. They laid off people in Massive, and all of these layoffs are happening. In the Japan industry, Konami's up, Square is up, Sony is up, Nintendo is up 16. This is just in December 30th, 2025. Bandai Namco is up 12.33, Capcom is up 8, Koei Tecmo is up 4, and Sega is down 20. Fast forward not even that far into the new year, and now we're seeing this 33% dip in terms of Nintendo stock ownership. Why? Because everybody thinks Nintendo is going to have to raise the price of their hardware. And let's be frank here, they don't have a stellar lineup teased for 2026. Here's what GameSpark.Japan says. This is translated, obviously, using Google Chrome. Nintendo stock price has fallen by more than 30% in the past 5 months, closing at 9,950 yen on January 13th.
So that is a great point, is based on the lower price of the yen, of the stock price being down, what, almost $4,000, falling or 30% in the last 5 months. That also doesn't play well because, as he was saying, Nintendo is not projected to have an incredible 2026 in terms of release games. I mean, what is big coming from Nintendo this year? That's not good. You know, the fact that they're at a low point and then also going into what may not be a strong year. Yeah, I can see why people would be investors would be worried.
This is likely due to the hardware situation and the current uncertainty about the future. The reason for the decline, are investors worried? Yes, absolutely they are. For the first time since April 2025, this stock has dipped below 10,000 yen. So this is a big fluctuation for a brand like Nintendo that most people like. And the article highlights that they have a somewhat uncertain 2026. Sure, they have Mario Tennis, they have Fire Emblem, they have Yoshi's Pokédex, and all these games. They even have Super Smash Bros. Wonder. These are second-generation versions of popular titles. And
so let's see. So the big games this year is Fire Emblem, Mario Tennis Fever, a new Rhythm Heaven, Tomodachi, and then essentially re-releases. Interesting. That doesn't sound too good to me.
Animal Crossing New Horizons, but they don't have that blockbuster hit. But the real reason is about the memory spike issue, which we'll get to in just a second. But real quick, they also talked about how operating profits increase as sales grow. So things are more expensive to make as they release this next generation of hardware. They were really smart. Nintendo was really smart with the Switch 1. They just held on to it forever because they knew they had stellar gameplay to offer and they didn't need to upgrade yet. If you have a Switch 2, largely it's for performance increases and games that run exclusively on the Switch 2. But even the most recent Metroid is still available on the original Switch. So if you're a penny pincher, so to speak, you're probably not going to make that upgrade right away, right? This is somewhat unavoidable as the sales of high-cost game hardware structurally lead to thin profits. But it's really about the memory spike issue the whole industry is facing right now. One major concern is the soaring prices of memory chips due to the special demand for AI. Prices are already rising for PCs, and the impact on game consoles is being closely watched. However, things progress. It looks like profits will continue to be squeezed for the next few years. And that's the heart of it, really. This isn't just a Nintendo thing or an Xbox thing or a PlayStation thing. I think Xbox is probably feeling it the worst, but this is a thing that the entire video game industry is going to be dealing with for the next several years. It's just going to be an issue that's going to be constantly on their mind and therefore on all of our minds when it comes to hardware. Now, we already talked about the increasing prices, but there was this interview that came out with Nintendo where they basically said, we are closely monitoring this RAM issue. VGC, it's behind a paywall, so I'm going to reference the VGC article here. They did a really good job of rounding it up. Furukawa says the company is keeping a close eye.
Delectable Toast in chat says Tomodachi Life will make $5 million. Trust me, joking. I mean, yeah, it's a joke, but I've got a feeling Tomodachi will probably do really well. I mean, I have a feeling like that's probably like, it's not something that sounds like it will, but I guarantee you that's one of those things that like overseas they'll probably make a boatload of money. I guarantee you they'll make money. Ona Salty says, I was distracted. What did I miss? Right now we're watching another video from Destin where he's talking about how Nintendo, or people are expecting the Nintendo will raise the price of the Switch 2 this year.
On Switch 2's profit margin, as the increase in memory prices and ongoing tariffs remain an ongoing issue in the industry. What the challenges were regarding Switch 2's lower profit margin than that of the original Switch was covered in the Kyoto Shimbun magazine. Hardware profitability, he says, depends on factors like component procurement conditions, cost reductions through mass production, and the impact of exchange rates and tariffs, Furukawa said. It's difficult to generalize. Fundamentally, we aim to address this by advancing component procurement over the medium to long term. And to Nintendo's credit, they have a ton of the components. I did a story a long time ago just about how they were stockpiling pieces so that they could just build their Nintendo Switch 2 at a reduced price. Furukawa went on to note that the rapidly increasing cost of RAM mainly attributed to AI data.
All right, I think I kind of got the gist of it. Yeah, it definitely seems like definitely. I mean, I honestly wouldn't be. Well, if it happens, it happens. And like, it had many games on there anyway, says Odin. Well, that's something he brought up. Why it was some sort of insider within Nintendo. That's why they were talking about the idea that the prices will go up. Is one, they're not coming off of a fantastic year. They're coming off of a good year. But the price, the stock price of Nintendo has dropped by 30%. So it's already at a, it's at a lower point than what it was within the last 5 months. And then all of a sudden you have 2026 looming, which already doesn't have a ton of games on hand for Nintendo this year. So it's a bit of like, it's a bit of, just people kind of looking ahead to what they got. I'm gonna turn on my Switch to see how it's doing. Yeah, it's just, not a great year, plus... Oh, they've put out a new trailer for No Rest for the Wicked? That game's still coming out? Goodness. I forgot to ask, was there any Cult of the Lamb news at the Direct today? No, no Cult of the Lamb. What is that? I feel like I've heard of that game somewhere. Alright, so I've only got one other video pulled up for today. Maybe I need to keep looking and see what else I find. Alright, well, let's go ahead and just jump into the last one. So, one other thing that I definitely told you guys I wanted to look into after us playing the game the other day is, if you guys didn't see, what was it? Was it Monday that we played it? I think Monday we played the game Planet of Lana, and I think, who was it? I think Odin Assaulty, Veronica Rose, and Skylar were all there, but like I ended up really enjoying the game. I thought it was really good. And probably definitely one of the better indie games I've played lately, along with like My Friendly Neighborhood and a couple other things. Soma. I had a really good time with this game. And yeah, there's supposed to be... Oh, that's what I was going to watch. There is we can go ahead and watch the trailer for the next one too while we're doing this. But I kind of just wanted to watch a lore video just to kind of see what was going on with the game. Because there were some things that I didn't quite understand. So yeah, that's all I wanted to do, is just kind of watch someone explain what was kind of going on with some of the story. Oh, Cult of the Lamb DLC came out today. Ah, I see. So I guess first off, let's go ahead and just watch the trailer for the next game. Because I totally forgot how this trailer goes.
Hello, my name is Adam Stjernljus, and with me I have Claes Martin Eriksson, and we're the game directors on Planet of Lana 2, our upcoming game from Wishfully.
Yes, hi everyone. We are super excited to finally share some extended gameplay footage with you.
So this
today
is from
for this
an
Xbox
event that they had last year.
So
and I totally forgot they did this entire video.
Yes, and
this was
we have
a long
lot of
clip
new
too,
exciting features, but one that we think
minutes.
is really important to keep from the first game is that yes, you can still.
And the art style looks really good too.
And there's a lot of new biomes and areas to explore on Novo this time around. Everything from snowy mountains to dark mines and even urban environments, to just mention a few.
Well, you had swimming before, but you didn't have
this
diving.
Area we call Demoa, which is this ocean area. And this time around, Lana can swim and dive freely underwater. But if you remember from the first game, Mui is not very compatible with water.
Mui.
But luckily you have this strange plant that you can use to transport her.
Oh,
as you
I'm excited for
explore
this
the
game
lush
now.
corals and dark depths.
You can
of
protect
this
Mui too.
environment.
Nice.
Yes, and of course, we are super stoked to reveal that Takeshi Furukawa will be returning as composer. Obviously, his beautiful tones that you can hear in the background are such a crucial part of the whole universe.
And it's the same
storytelling
music
of Planet of
composer.
Lana.
That's nice.
So we're beyond excited to work with him again on this game.
Yes, and there's a lot of new creatures and robots that you'll come across during your adventure. And here you have to use stealth to get past this patrolling electrical shark. In general, Lana is much more agile and capable this time around, both on land and in water. But she's still vulnerable, so the collaboration with Mui is really important. And you use verbal commands to control Mui, and you can now control her all across the screen. And she also has this hypnotic ability that lets you take control of new exciting creatures.
Little creatures.
Here you can see that you can control this tiny little inkfish that you can swim around with and explore the area. And all these creatures have unique abilities that you can use to your advantage. This inkfish can release an ink cloud that you can use to get past this shark. And that's just one of many examples of how we're expanding the gameplay.
Yes, and another thing that of course is expanding is the narrative. Now, some time has passed since Lana and Mui liberated Novo from the robot invaders in the first game. And a big focus of the sequel revolves around how the planet has changed with the arrival of this new technology. Now, in this scene, Lana and Mui have been captured by a hostile human faction that have reprogrammed the robots for their own purposes. And as you can see, they are separated and having to work together to try to escape. And this really cuts to the core of the gameplay, like using Lana and Mui's individual abilities to problem solve and progress through the environment makes for some truly dynamic and challenging puzzle solving that we are very excited for everyone to experience in this game.
Yes, and to summarize, I mean, this sequel is double the length, double the scope, and the team has been working so hard to bring a truly unique experience with more challenging puzzles and an expanded narrative for you to explore, and we're just so excited to show you more from the game. Planet of Lana 2 is coming 2026 on all platforms and on Xbox Game Pass day one.
Yes. So that was one of the trailers that I saw. I remember seeing that one, but I saw that trailer before I even played the game. So needless to say, I'm quite a bit more excited than I was. Huh. Interesting. All right, so let's go ahead and jump into the lore video. So this is from a creator called Pixel Journey. So thank you so much, Pixel Journey. We're going to check your video out. And Pixel Journey is going to talk about the story within Planet of Lana. I'll give you a like. I'll give you a sub. All right, take it away, Pixel Journey. Oh, I've got no audio.
Begins on the distant planet of Novo in Lana's small fishing village of Tylo as they live their quiet lives. She and her older sister Elo happily run through the town and out to the surrounding lands, stopping in a clearing for a moment to pay their respects at the grave of their deceased parents. The sisters then run to the edge of the cliffs where they see a mysterious robot army falling from the sky. Suddenly, a robot equipped with a cage rises from the valley and captures Elo while Lana looks on horrified.
I was there for
The young girl then runs back towards her town but has to hide to keep from being captured by the robot sentinels patrolling the area. As she makes her way back to her village, she cross, dropping down ropes so that an Ankh is an Egyptian hieroglyph, sometimes called the key of life, which seems pretty fitting in this case. Then a man worships the circuitry that is watching over them, as a god would. And with a second flash, a new world is born. After finding a gate that she opens with a musical lock.
Are you? Okay. Well, sorry, Pixel. Are you just telling me the story?
She sees she is in a nursery, safe from civilization, and keeping them contained.
Okay, you're just recapping. I apologize, Pixel Journey, but thank you so much for your video. I was looking for a more in-depth Planet of Lana lore, maybe. That was just the was just straight up the game. Here we go. Let's try this video. Thank you so much, Pixel Journey. Go check out Pixel Journey if you want your game fully told to you. Which we don't need. We played it. We just want the lore as to what was happening.
One of the games I've been most looking forward to
that's
recently
loud.
has been Wishfully's Planet of Lana, an Off-Earth Odyssey. Try saying that a few times quickly. An Off-Earth Odyssey. An Off-Earth... An Off-Earth Odyssey. The game centres around a girl called Lana, looking for her sister, who's been captured after a robotic invasion from another world.
I forgot, who is this creator? This is Andy Gears. Thank you so much, Andy. We're checking out Andy's video, Planet of Lana's Hidden Backstory Explained. What does it mean? I'll give you a like, Andy. Thank you so much. And you get a subscribe too. Everyone gets a subscribe from me.
Along the way, she teams up with an adorable little cat-like creature called Mui and has to solve various collaboration-based puzzles. Truth be told, I wasn't even expecting to be able to play the game because it's only on PC and Xbox, and all I've got is a Mac and a Nintendo Switch. But I was absolutely delighted recently when the demo came out and I discovered that it performs absolutely fine in Parallels on my Mac. It probably goes without saying that what initially grabbed my attention was the gorgeous visuals. This game is beautiful. But even from the first few minutes of gameplay, what also really stands out is the soundtrack. Right now, go buy it, go enjoy it, and then come back later.
Right,
Because what I really want to do in this video is dig deeper beneath the surface of the story and try and explore what's going on, and I really don't want to spoil it for you if you haven't played it through.
Nope, spoil away. We already played it. What's going on?
One of the things about Planet of Lana is that there's no real dialogue in the game. The story is told mostly through visuals and inference, so it leaves a lot to the imagination. So what actually is going on? Who are these robotic invaders? And what do they want with Lana's sister? The first big clue is when Lana and Mui come across the ancient wreckage of a spaceship.
That I remember.
It's clearly been on Novo for a long time. As various systems spark back into life, it hints at its origins.
The
It has
ancient
flown
blood.
from a distant solar system, piloted by generations of captains, the last of whom appears to have been a robot themselves.
Oh, I didn't even notice that. As it kept going, the captains became the
The
robots
mystery goes
eventually.
deeper when you eventually find yourself on the invader's mothership.
I saw the picture, but I didn't put it two and two together that human, then robot. So eventually, it just became robots doing everything.
The robots seem to be working hard to destroy Novo's hostile life forms and extracting green goo from them, whilst going out of their way to avoid harming Mui. Their treatment of Novo's human population seems even more surprising. Caring for the babies, bathing them, entertaining them. And whilst the adults are being kept in isolation from one another, the environment seems unexpectedly clean and lush. But if we really want to piece together the backstory, we need to go deeper. The biggest clue comes from the 10 secret shrines hidden through the game.
Oh, that's the one thing I didn't do in the game was get all the secret shrines. Dang it, so it sounds like maybe that might have revealed more what was happening. Well, good thing we have Andy Gears here to explain the game.
Together they piece together a history of Novo.
Oh, it literally is like it literally shows like what's happening. Let's look at this. So it shows humans on Earth eventually evolving and then having robot helpers. And it looks like the creature, there's a little Moi thing right up here. So we've got humans with the robots they've created, and it looks like the creatures also may have came from Earth. So they're all here. It looks like all of them gather to get onto this ship. And then all of the robots, the machines, and the monsters or creatures get onto the ship, fly away, and go to Planet of Lana or whatever it is. So pretty self-explanatory. And then bottom right, we have ship people come off, slowly becoming more native oriented. Same thing here. What is the top though? Not sure what the top circle is.
They show the human race developing on a planet which is clearly Earth, at some point being joined by android companions and cats. Then, for reasons that we can only speculate about, there came a time when their civilization set off on a spaceship for a distant planet, Novo. The robots appear to have been tasked with caring for the human race and their offspring on the journey. But upon reaching their destination, it looks like the ship crashed into the surface. Over time, the human race appear to have dispersed over the surface of the planet, leaving their technological assistance and know-how behind, learning to live off the land instead. Presumably, over time, they forgot about their past and where they came from. But what was going on back on Earth? Who was left behind? It would seem that some of the robot population remained behind, controlled by an advanced artificial intelligence. Was humanity fleeing a war? Was there an
That's a great point. That's what that symbol could stand for, is AI or something. Oh, and the eye does look to be surrounded maybe by a planet. So it could be that maybe, like he's saying, like some sort of AI, artificial intelligence, something happened to the planet. Maybe the AI, like he's talking about, Terminator. What's Terminator Day called? What's I can't think of the Rise of the Machines, whatever that day is called.
Was there a major natural disaster? For whatever reason, the robots seem to have come to Novo to seek out the humans and, well, what?
Bring them back?
Is it just possible that instead of coming to destroy the humans, they actually thought they were trying to protect them? Was it just an overzealous expression of their ancient sense of purpose? Having been programmed to care for the human babies, were they just on an interstellar search for a babysitting gig? I also can't go without at least some mention of the ending. As a Christian, I love a Jesus-shaped story, and Planet of Lana doesn't disappoint. The climax comes as Mui sacrifices himself to save Lana. But then, just as you think all is lost, well, just in case you are cheekily watching this without having played the game to the end, I won't spoil it for you. But what do you think the story was all about? What do you think the robots were really after? What kind of creature was Mui? Let me know your theories in the comments below.
Alright, well thank you so much. Was it Andy Gears? How do I get out of here? Andy Gears, thank you so much for your video. That definitely helps. Now that explains that if I would have done the collecting of those things, I probably would have ended up getting my explanation kind of sort of with what's happening. Even though what was happening to me was I kind of already knew some of that, but that definitely clears it up fully. Because I kind of didn't think that the robots were... I didn't think they looked like they were trying to kill everybody anyways, so that makes sense. Alright, y'all. Is there anything else? Let me do one more quick run through. Oh, I forgot to mention, if you guys have any stories or any videos, feel free to throw them into the Discord right now or into the chat. Just let me know. Because I am out of stories. That's about it. That's about everything I cared about. Let's see. Let's do a quick refresh and see if there's any stories that I may think's interesting. Let's take a look at Moist, see what Moist has posted recently. are addicted to getting hit by trains. What the fudge? Oh, I remember something I wanted to talk about. Yeah, I guess I could do that. That can be the last thing I forgot I watched a movie. That was something I was going to chit-chat about for a little bit. Maybe we'll talk about that to close things out. Gosh, the Burnt Peanut has 63,000 people watching him. I didn't realize that many people liked him. I thought he was like a big streamer, but sheesh. I'm playing a demo for this game called Octopath Traveler on my Switch. I've got Octopath. I got it on the Switch too. Never played it though. I think I got both games. There's Octopath and then there's something triangle. Yeah, alright, so let's talk about the Bone Temple. I did get to go watch that just the other day. Let's change the music to something dark and serious. Do we have any dark music? I'm feeling dark right now. Thought I had Silent Hill music on here, didn't I? Yeah, let's play Silent Hill. Boo, boo, boo. Alright, y'all. Final topic of the night. We are at an hour and a half. I think real quick, I just want to touch on, I did officially get to watch 28 years later, The Bone Temple. I don't remember if I ended up doing a chat or talk, because when I did recently watch, or watched in theaters the other 28 years later. Did I say 28 days? No. I watched 28 years later the previous one, because technically if you don't know, I believe this series is meant to be, I think it's Danny Boyle is the guy that has made all of the 28 years later movies. Basically, yeah, I think this is supposed to end up being a trilogy, because they had the previous movie that came out 7 months ago. That was called 28 Years Later. This is 2, supposed to be 28 Years Later, The Bone Temple. And then there is supposed to be a third movie, but things are kind of in the air. There's a lot of people that are unsure whether this movie, the third one, is going to get made or not. If you don't know, the previous movie sold pretty well, didn't do incredible. It did okay numbers, but critically it was kind of not really received all that well. I liked it. But there was a lot of people that didn't really love the movie. This one is almost having the opposite effect. It almost seems as though the Bone Temple so far is critically being liked and well received, but financially this one's not doing as well as the previous one. So kind of the opposite effect is kind of happening with this one. And I think what a lot of people like me are kind of worried about right now is as to whether we may not get a third one. I do think they have already said they are going to go on and continue on, luckily, and allow Danny Boyle to make his third, but it does sound as though this movie's not doing well, so it could be up in the air. I think they're going to make it. It doesn't make sense to only make 2 out of 3 movies. If you're going to waste money, why not make the third one and waste money anyways, just to see if you can, you know what I mean? Unless the studio is like, we don't want to waste that much money, but I just don't see why you wouldn't want to finish out your trilogy. So, thoughts on The Bone Temple. I really like this movie. I really liked it. I mean, granted, I liked the previous one. I think I ended up liking this one just a tiny bit more. But I will say, as a horror fan and someone who loves zombie movies and of the sort, again, I'm tired of people being mad that these movies don't have much zombies in them and stuff. These aren't your typical zombie movies. If you haven't been watching ever since the first movie, again, it's not really of like a virus. It is a virus, but it's more of like a rabies. It's like, what if some crazy form of rabies swept the globe? What would happen? You know what I mean? It's called a rage virus. So again, and I really like this movie because they really play with a lot of those ideals and things of the sort. I'll try not to delve too much into spoilers, although I don't see how that could be any fun to hear me not talk about the spoilers. But I would heavily recommend this movie, especially towards the end. There is a surprise or two that they throw in here. That definitely, one of the surprises, I was definitely like, what? They're doing this? I mean, it's one of those things where most people knew they were going to do what they did, but the fact that they ended up doing it and showing it is still really cool. I really like it. I like what it means for what the next one's going to possibly do. But yeah, so again, that's all I'll say about the big surprise in the movie, is there is a big surprise, and it does lead up to something really cool that I think is going to be probably, if they didn't have that, I'm not sure if the third one would get made, but hopefully because of what could be stemming from that, I think there's going to be enough intrigue and people are going to be interested to see where things go there. But yeah, the rest of the movie, fantastic. I really liked it. I will say a large portion of this movie heavily revolves around two characters in particular. And those two characters, one is a zombie and one is a human character. And if you can't see on screen, this is one of the main characters of the movie if you don't know. This is a rage virus induced alpha zombie from the movie. They have like in the series, or in the more recent series, they have like these two different forms of zombies. They have like your normies, your normal rage induced zombies, and then you have your alpha zombies who somehow through some sort of, it's almost like some sort of evolutionary thing, have started to kind of grow beyond the zombies in a way. And yeah, the whole story just kind of revolves around, there's this doctor who he's in the previous movie as well, played by Ray Fiennes, I think it's name, Ralph Fiennes. If you don't know, Lord Voldemort, basically, from Harry Potter. Him and this zombie here, essentially, he ends up in the movie naming him eventually. He names him Samson, some sort of a Christian, I think it's like a Christian reference or something of the sort. But yeah, these two are your main characters of the movie, and it's so cool what they do with the story. Essentially, eventually where they end up going here is Ray Fiennes here is, he's a doctor, if you don't know, a doctor from the previous life, in the normal time, in the normal history of the world. And he's just been kind of living out on his own amongst his bone temple. And he has like an entire, he calls it a mortuary or something, where he has an entire temple made out of bones, simply because he's trying to create something that remembers the dead, remembers people that have long gone. It is very gross, but it is well-meaning, is what I think they, is trying to get across. But he essentially, from many years, I think it's, how many years has it been since the affected happened? Probably, I think it's like 7 to 10 years is how long this takes place after the events of, or actually it might actually be longer than that. It might be like 10 plus years post the events of the first 28 days later. But essentially what he's been doing is slowly over time, because he's a doctor and a researcher at heart, he's been slowly researching and learning more about the infected and the virus and the rage virus and everything. And they play with a really cool idea of what exactly are the zombies seeing that causes them to get so rageful at humans? Why are they so rageful at attacking humans? And he ends up coming up with a theory that rather than thinking of the virus, or thinking of it as a virus, something that is infecting people, what if the entire thing is psychological? What if the entire thing is all about what Samson and these other alphas and other zombies, what if the problem is just what they're seeing? Because they've become primal in in nature, but why are they so rageful about their how primal they become? And ipso facto, it ends up becoming a really cool idea of like him experimenting with Samson through medications, prescriptions and things of the sort, giving him different cocktails of different things, trying to fix his psychological, because he thinks it's like a psychological disorder. And ipso facto, he ends up almost curing Samson. Almost curing, I won't say fully because I don't want to give away certain things, but he ends up curing aspects of Samson. And again, a lot of this just has to play on like, well, what does that mean for the rest of the zombies? What does it mean for Samson? Where could things be going? All of that is super intriguing, and I'm totally fascinated and down to see what's going on. Again, I hate to say it, you don't really see many zombies in this movie, mainly because the story isn't really about them. I mean, they're there in the world, so you at least know that they're there, but the whole story is just about the doctor, I can't remember his name, Dr. something. Oh, Kelson. I think it's Kelson or Kelsum. So Dr. Kelsum and Samson is your two main characters in the movie. And then, of course, you also have the Jimmies. If you don't know, in the previous movie, or at the end of the previous movie, this whole movie, the main villain is this guy, Jimmy, who, him and his he has like a cult, essentially. So that's like the large portion of the movie, is the movie kind of revolving around the crazy Jimmies. He's got like these 7 fingers, which he comes up with his own cult, essentially. So he has like his own made up ideology of everything he believes in. Essentially, they're Satanists. So it's him. He believes that he's a Satanist, and all of his followers are people that don't really want to follow him, but they're scared of him and scared of upsetting Satan. So he has like this group of people, and they're like a band of misfits who go around killing people and doing terrible things because they believe in Satan. And that's essentially the story. And but the main reason we follow that group of the Jimmy and the Fingers is because our main character from the previous movie, I can't remember the kid's name, Spike. Okay, I'm remembering the characters. The main character from the movie Spike, from the previous movie, Spike, he accidentally gets captured by them and gets roped into their little cult. So the whole movie just kind of revolves around Spike dealing with being a part of this cult that he's kind of gotten roped into. Through them being terrible and doing things, they come across Dr. Kelsum. Kelsum kind of becomes best friends with Samson. It's really touching and really cool. There's like scenes of them hanging out. The way he's able to kind of make Samson docile is, again, they kind of show it here, but ever since the previous movie, Kelsum has this blow dart, and he constantly, every time he sees a zombie or Samson, he shoots him with this blow dart that's filled with this cocktail that makes him docile. And that's how slowly over time, him doing this multiple times, because Samson keeps coming back, he thinks Samson keeps coming back because Samson wants to kill him because he's a zombie, rageful zombie who, hates him. But slowly over time, he begins to learn that Samson is like, this zombie is addicted to the cocktail that he keeps injecting him with. So that's why Samson keeps coming back. And every time Samson keeps coming back to him, Samson is slowly less and less rageful and is just coming back because he's addicted to a drug, which is super funny. So you have like this zombie, rageful virus zombie alpha who like is just addicted to getting injected. So he keeps coming back to this doctor, and again, because Samson slowly keeps coming more and more docile, the Dr. Kelsum, slowly over time is like, well, something I'm doing is causing him to become docile. Why is that? And that's what I meant about like, it slowly becomes a story of like, him slowly uncovering that he thinks it's more of a psychological problem, which is really cool. Like whether people like it or not, this is probably one of the more like unique zombie stories or zombie ways of dealing with zombie apocalypse and a zombie virus that I've seen. And yeah, that's really all that the major stuff that's kind of happened in the movie. I'll be honest, there's really not a lot of plot elements within the movie. That is like your entire movie. It only takes place in like 2 locations, which is like why I love these movies so much. They're like they're big and they're wide scale, but they're really small in scale too. Like in terms of the story, it's wide scale, but in terms of like the movies themselves, they only take place in a couple locations. And oh yeah, here's your Jimmy. That's your main Jimmy. He's got like his own cult who like worships him and stuff, and they all dress up just like him. And I don't know, they kind of like, I will say, like, this guy that plays Jimmy, he ends up being he's actually a very good villain. I really enjoyed him. He comes off as a pretty believable Satanist. And I don't know, I really liked him, and I liked all the other characters. And that's basically it. I like it. It's not like it's not the scariest, it's not the most frightening horror zombie movie you've ever seen. But if you're looking for, I don't want to act like I'm an intellectual. If you're looking for a more meaningful and at least unique take on the zombie thing, 28 Days Later has always been that. Like, again, they haven't been super scary since like the first movie or the second movie, first or second movie, but I really like these movies because they play around with stuff and they're trying new things, and I don't know, I really enjoy it. I'm super kind of excited to see where they go with the next one. There are certain plot elements that aren't fully dealt with. I don't want to deal with much, but there is a major spoiler I won't touch on. I think that's something you guys should experience if you go out and watch it. But definitely what happens in the movie definitely has me more excited, more intrigued for the next one. The only hope with this series is, are we going to get another one? You know, who knows? I have no idea if we're going to get more to this series because of the money aspect. This movie is not doing particularly well, so hopefully, even though they may take a hit, hopefully eventually this movie breaks even, and that causes them to say, oh, let's just go ahead and make the next one. I'm hoping these movies make more in foreign markets because it's a British movie. Hopefully it makes up for it in the national market versus domestic. I'm sure domestically this is not doing well, or domestic in America. Domestically, it's probably for us not doing well. I'm sure this being a British UK movie, hopefully the Brits in the UK are like flocking to this movie and are helping it out as much as they can. But I really enjoyed this movie. I overall love this series. I don't mean to act like an intellectual or anything, but I like movies that are trying new things, that are thinking outside of the box a little bit in terms of, it's not just another zombie movie or whatever. Like as much as I liked the second movie, that is probably the most 28 Months Later is probably the most dispensable out of all of these movies, which is sad to say because it is like more frightening and more scary than these more recent ones. But Delectable Toast says, would this be a good bedtime movie? Joking, says Delectable. No. I will say there are some like really like touching scenes in this movie and the last movie. I cried in the last movie. It has such a sad scene that I thought. And this one has some like really touching scenes between Samson and Dr. Kelsom. But I like that it also has like some really gross scenes that you're like, ugh. So it's like, it's a really good mix. So, I don't know. Again, I kind of like that this series is trying different things. It's not just a story about zombies. If you're going in and expecting to be frightened every 5 minutes, you're not going to get it. You may get scared. I may have jumped maybe once in this movie, which is fine. I don't think you need more than that. On a more serious note, yeah, I gotta agree with you on it being such a unique take on the zombie genre, yeah. And again, what I was getting at with 28 Months Later is, even though I like 28 Months Later, it's got some scary stuff. It's definitely more scary than this movie, but it's the most dispensable out of all of them because I don't like, I don't really remember there being any, like, true depth to the movie in terms of the story. There's one element of it, and that was with the dad and the daughter and the mother. And that whole thing gets resolved in that movie very early on. So again, there wasn't a heck of a whole lot to that movie, is what I'm saying. So, did I do it? I think I did a review of 28 Months Later, didn't I? I did a review of the first one. Eventually on ChazmaN Live, we need to go back and watch some of my older videos. I would love to see how some of my older reviews and video game reviews and stuff stand up. Maybe next week. Maybe next week we'll, for ChazmaN Live, we'll pick one of my older videos, and I would love to see how crappy those videos are. Might check it out, says Skylar. Yeah, I mean, it's tough to say. Like, I really enjoyed this movie. Borderline loved it. I mean, if you don't at least get out to the theaters, at least when this comes out to streaming, I would say it's definitely I definitely recommend it to watch when it comes to streaming. But again, I think it's super important with this series to go into this with the right expectations of what you're watching. Do not go into this expecting Dawn of the Dead. Don't go into it expecting 28 Months Later levels of, like, spooky, scary. Like, go into it thinking, like, I want to see a different take on zombies, and I want to see great acting, and again, this series has always kind of touched on, like, just what does humanity look like post the zombie apocalypse, you know. But it doesn't do it in an uninteresting way. It does it in, like, the most interesting fashion, which I like. I don't know. That's my opinion. That's all I got to say. If you can't tell, I really liked 28 Years Later, The Bone Temple. Hopefully more people get out to go watch it so that we can get a third one. So, okay, so that's my thoughts on that. Is there anything else I really have to talk about? I think I'm tired of talking. I feel like my 2 hour, once I get past 2 hours of talking nonstop, I get tired of it. Anything else? You know what? I think I'm gonna call things there for tonight. How's that? So 2 streams in one day, and this stream went for 2 hours. Then we had an hour earlier. I think that gives me plenty of ChazmaN Live content to splice up. I'm almost gonna have too much to do now. Alright, so real quick, let's say a thank you. Thank you so much to everyone over in the Twitch end. Appreciate all of you guys. Tune in, what is today? Friday or Thursday? Today's Thursday. So tune in tomorrow night, and we will be playing some new indie game. I'll have to figure out what we're gonna play. And then more Pokemon on Saturday. We're gonna try and knock out Pokemon Saturday. That's my big thing. Try and knock Pokemon out. Let's see. Oh yeah, thank you so much to everyone in chat. Who did we have for today? So we had Skylar Twilight, Odin is Salty, Delectable Toast. Thank you so much, you guys. Really appreciate having all of you here. And then we had Veronica Rose earlier, who was in on the Xbox Developer Direct stream. And then thank you so much to all the Patreon backers, Skylar Twilight 128, Matthew Biocrash, and Tim. Appreciate all of you guys. Oh, I will remind you guys, so I am returning to normal work life on Monday. My, like, 5-month vacation is up, pretty much. So I'm going to be returning to a normal schedule. I will be getting out of work at about 5 p.m. Some days, maybe later. But, so we're going to be shifting our streaming time. I'm going to say, tentatively, we're going to be moving streaming time to about 7:30 to start off with. So, you know, hopefully that's a better time for everybody. Hopefully it's not worse for everybody. But yeah, we'll be moving to about 7:30, doing our typical time, 2 to 3 hours for that. And that's it. Really nothing different. It's going to be the same schedule. Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. There is one other new thing we started doing last night on Wednesday nights. We're going to start trying to do every Wednesday in the Discord. We watched some anime last night. So that's a couple weeks in a row. A couple weeks ago we watched all of Berserk. in the Discord. And then just last night we watched, what, 4 episodes of Attack on Titan. And yeah, so we're trying to do like something new. Not necessarily a gaming stream, but something in the Discord once a week. And I don't know. I found that I'm enjoying having more time for anime, so it's a good time. So yeah, that's it. The only difference is that my schedule, my weekly time frame changes by about an hour or two, really. So hopefully that time works out for everybody. And if not, I apologize. And that's all I got. So again, thank you so much everyone in the stream. Love you guys. Thank you so much anyone over on the Twitch end. Appreciate you. I love you guys. And I'll see you tomorrow. In the YouTube chat or in the Discord, feel free to throw recommendations for an indie game. I have a handful already picked out for tomorrow. We'll figure it out some point, but yeah, we'll find some game and just jump into something new. Hopefully something as good as Planet of Lana. I really enjoyed that. That was one of the better games I've picked out lately, other than maybe Clair Obscur. Clair Obscur was something I had known for a while. I'm jumping into that game. But all right, night night everybody. I'll see y'all tomorrow. Bye bye.